So this is that the certificate of return?
That's
the certificate of return. Yeah. Why did he have to go and show it to Buhari? Is that how it works?
Yeah, as a sitting president and member of his party. So
if Buhari, when Buhari won the return in the midterm, the second, who did he show it to? When he was the president and he was also the incoming.
But Buhari as a leader of the party, so they were rather supposed to meet him. But in this case, Buhari is the leader of the party, but then he is the candidate. So technically, Buhari is still his boss. So it's like
I get it. So when Buhari was boss, who does Buhari show it to? You don't seem to get me. The second, when he won the second term election return, who does he show it to?
So they had this, what do you call it? They had
some
a meeting,
group, party chairman and all that. Okay. All right. So let's move on. So Tinubu's victory, is it simmering down to people in Lagos where he lost the presidential, or are they still thinking something as wrong has happened? What's the mood in Nigeria among young people now?
Well, there's this tense mood between the Yorubas and the Igbos. And that was precisely so because of the Lagos State gubernatorial election. You know, initially when, Labour Party won the presidential election in Lagos State, there was this belief that what happened to Saraki in 2019 in Kwara State, when he lost total control of the state to APC under Abdulrazak Abdurrahman, the current governor, that something similar may happen to Tinubu. But then, going to the governorship election, there was this argument by some element of Obi supporters, not the entire of Obi supporters, that Lagos is technically a no man's land. And so that agitated the Yorubas. And all of a sudden, ethnicity became a major issue.
Start from the build-up of the election. Do you have another slide that shows Lagos? So this is the gubernatorial.
The gubernatorial.
All right, but let's start from the Lagos presidential election. So to make the story that you're saying, the narrative you are generating clear to viewers, Lagos is thought of as owned by Tinubu.
Sure.
He had been governor of Lagos for 2 terms or 3 terms.
2 terms.
2 terms. He had handed over to his protege for another 2 terms.
Yeah.
So it was believed that he controlled Lagos significantly.
Sure.
He's Yoruba,
Yoruba,
but he's Muslim.
Yeah, he's a Muslim.
And majority of Lagos people are Yoruba.
Yeah.
And that the Lagos state, since Obasanjo, has been voting for the Yoruba candidate. Is that correct to say?
But almost all the states have Yoruba candidates. But one thing about Lagos, throughout PDP's 16-year rule in power, Lagos State remained in the hands of opposition, which is Tinubu.
As governor?
No, he served as governor for 2 terms.
And then Senate as well?
But then Tinubu's party, his parties keep changing name.
Okay.
Initially, he governed under, AD, Alliance for Democracy. And then later, the name was changed to AC, Action Congress. Later morphed into ACN. From there, it made to form the APC.
Okay.
So it comes with different names.
But you're saying that whilst PDP had control of Lagos by, the presidential with Obasanjo, at all those material times, Tinubu was the opposition who was controlling Lagos gubernatorial.
Yeah.
All right, so that's where he's coming from.
Sure.
So Tinubu now runs presidency himself. Yeah. And it was widely expected that his party will win Lagos, given his longevity and control over Lagos. And that didn't happen.
Initially so. But then when you factor the NSAS protest and how it ended, and the kind of anger and agitation that was directed towards Tinubu, and you look at the cosmopolitan nature of Lagos State, you could see some, perhaps, fault lines emerging that he could face stiff challenge, but nobody really thought he would lose. But then there was that belief that his control of the state.
When it was obvious that Tinubu and the APC's control of Lagos was shaky, did people think that if Tinubu doesn't win, it will go to Peter Obi, the Labour Party, or did they feel that it will go to PDP, back to PDP?
Initially, people thought, when you look at the structures of the political parties, PDP should have benefited from Tinubu's, But then if you also look at the fact that a Labour Party was propelled by the youth, and the youth in Lagos are very, very, discerning and more cosmopolitan and global in their outlook. So there was a large, probability that Labour would have benefited, not PDP. And that's what happened, because Labour benefited from that.
The tribal mix in Lagos, will it still be Yoruba dominated?
Yes.
If that is so, then can we conclude safely that some Yorubas voted for Peter Obi in the presidential election?
Sure, they did.
They did?
Yeah.
And those same Yorubas then did not vote for Peter Obi's candidates in the subsequent elections?
Most likely so.
Explain to us. And now let's go back to the three people who were contending for the position. Yeah, no, that's it. You got
there's another something I want to look at.
All right.
These are the 3 candidates.
Okay, so walk us through them. Who are they?
They are all Yorubas. This is Badebo Road Vivo. Vivo. He's contesting for Labour Party. And this is Abdulaziz, popularly known as Jando. He contested for PDP. And this is the incumbent governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
Also, the governorship was held by APC already?
Yeah.
Okay, so he ran again?
Yeah.
And he won.
He won.
Yeah, but if they are all Yoruba, then it doesn't make the points we're trying to make that Yorubas voted one way in the presidential.
You understand when we go further into the conversation?
Okay, let's tell us.
Because PDP has never really won Lagos State so far, so PDP was technically out of the race. But when you compare these two candidates, Gbadebo has a non-Yoruba mother. And over the years, in some of his rhetorics, he has been accused of being anti-Yoruba. You know, he once contested, I think, for Legislative Assembly as a candidate of the PDP.
Yeah.
And when he was contesting, he was accused of amplifying his Igbo name, Chinedu.
His mother is Igbo?
His mother is Igbo.
Okay, his father is Yoruba, but his mother is Igbo.
Yeah. He was accused
and he's thought of being more to the Igbo side.
More to the Igbo. And he's not a fluent speaker of the Yoruba language. And that also emerged when ethnicity became an issue.
Chinedu is a Igbo name.
Igbo name.
And
Gbadebo
is a Yoruba name. And what's the meaning of this? He put Chinedu, so first name Chinedu.
Chinedu.
Is that his original first name or is his second name?
That becomes very interesting when you look at his, what do you call it, name when he's contesting for the governorship, Gbadebo.
That's what he used for the recent governorship.
So he was accused of celebrating his Igbo side previously, but because he wanted to benefit or try to win the governorship election, he decided to celebrate his Yoruba side. And then what necessitated the argument was that there was this argument among some hardcore element of the Obis, what I normally call the obedient, who claimed that should they win the governorship, they would dislodge some of the Yoruba chiefs, the Obas, because they were accused of being Tinubu's guys.
Oh, I see.
And so
that campaign was waged against the Labour Party candidate.
Yeah, the ethnicity campaign. You know, the argument was that having won the presidential election, they were going to the election, the gubernatorial race, with full confidence that the victory would surely be theirs. But then all of a sudden, issues of ethnicity emerged. And then some hardcore element were claiming that Lagos is no man's land, and that agitated the Yorubas. And all of a sudden, it became a very tense issue.
Yorubas wanted to show that Lagos is Yoruba land.
To them. And then that's why we had some pocket of violence. And that is
in the gubernatorial?
Yeah.
In Lagos?
Yeah, in some part of Lagos.
I see.
State. And that's where this gentleman comes to play.
Who is he?
Musliu Adesanya.
Musliu Adesanya.
Popularly known as MC Oluomo.
MC Oluomo. I've heard it in the music before.
Yeah. Officially.
Whose music is that? MC Oluomo?
Tenny.
What song is that?
I go Oshodi for your case.
Yes. I go kill for your case. Is that not a Davido song?
No. That's Tenny.
But he says something like MC Oluomo. What does he say?
You see, officially, okay, he's the head of the NURTW.
What's that?
National Union of Road Transport Workers, Lagos State branch.
Road Transport Workers?
Yeah, just like we have GPRC.
So GPRC, yeah, okay.
In Nigeria. So he's the Lagos State chairman. That's his official position.
But that's a major one.
But unofficially, he controls almost all the thugs in Lagos State.
All the what?
All the thugs, the hoodlums.
In Lagos State?
In Lagos
Why
State.
do they have thugs? What do they do? Are they langars or what?
I think that trend is equally emerging in Ghana, that when you go to almost every station today and you're booking a bus, you see some young men standing there and taking money from the, what do you call it? The
passengers?
The mates and the drivers.
Why?
It's more like racketeering, I don't know.
Who are they taking the money for? GPRC?
You can't tell. Just going to individual pocket is more like...
going on at the...
almost our
we should be investigating that story. We should have a
journalist. That trend is emerging. Almost every bus stop has something similar. You see young men...
collecting money from who?
From the mate, anytime they load.
Like a tax?
A tax, a toll. So, and if they are not giving, they become very aggressive, sometimes violent.
I see. You go on with the story. That story will follow up.
So we call them Agberus.
In Nigeria?
Agberus. Or area boys.
Okay.
Area boys is the pidgin name, but in Yoruba they are called Agberus.
Okay.
So unofficially, that's his work. He controls almost every...
Agberus.
In Lagos. So
and what do? They just take money from people?
So he unleashed them.
On who?
On some of the police stations. So there was this ballot stuffing...
On voting day?
Yeah. But not the entirety of Lagos State, but in some selected portion.
Areas where he has control.
And perhaps that was because just that the Igbos were saying that Lagos is no man's land, so the Yorubas cannot claim ownership. It agitated some hardcore element on the Yoruba side and decided to show them where the power lies. And that became... So in some selected areas...
So that the gubernatorial in Lagos, similar to the national election, had very little to do with politics, economy, health, and all of that. It was really about something else.
Ethnicity became the major issue.
Ethnicity and power and control. That was the issue about the elections. At least the national election we know, and then certainly now you are telling us the Lagos election as well.
It became a major issue.
That's very interesting. Okay. let's move on and see what happens.
But then APC won.
But the victory is big.
Sure.
7-6 to 3-1 is big.
So what the impact of that rhetoric of dislodging the Obas in Lagos State, of calling Lagos a no man's land, the right is.
But that may be untrue. That may be a political gimmick used by the APC.
No.
It may be untrue. Did they actually say that they were going to dislodge the Obas?
Several tweets on posts on social media.
Key people or just rabble rousers?
You see, one thing about politics is that issues of ethnicity are very sensitive. So it doesn't matter whether it is some fringe element or at the center. But the issue is that when such rhetorics are being propounded, what is the response of the candidate?
So he must condemn it.
He must condemn it.
It didn't come. The condemnation didn't come. Okay.
So it kind of feed into that sense of insecurity that Yorubas had. So like we're going out to show them.
Yeah. So then they went out and voted for the incumbent.
Massively. So APC benefited from that. So ideally, Yorubas that might have probably voted for Labour Party in the presidential election were now forced to go back.
Even though this is half Yoruba.
Yeah.
But because of the campaign against him that he had used.
Apart from him, Davido is equally half Yoruba.
Who is half Yoruba?
Davido.
Who is Davido?
The musician.
What has he got to do with the story?
No, the comparison was made that despite being half Yoruba, Davido is still a fluent speaker of the Yoruba language, despite the fact that he celebrates his mother's side. But
which is Igbo?
No, she's Edo. His mother is an Edo.
Edo, okay.
So there's this comparison. So he being half Yoruba and not being able to speak Yoruba language is not a justification. Because if Davido share the same, background, he'll still be able to.
What's the Yoruba language? What's it called? The Yoruba language. What is it called?
Ide Yoruba.
Ide Yoruba.
Yoruba language. Or they tell Adom-Otchere.
Is it the one that sounds close to Ga and Ewe sometimes?
Yeah, it sounds close to Ga.
Okay, all right, I get it.
Because of the origin in Ife.
Yes. Let's move on then.
So this is for the Lagos State, Then these are the current seats, distribution of seats in the Nigerian, legislature. You know, as a federal system, they have 2 chambers.
Yeah.
So this is the number of seats in the Senate.
Who is having what now?
So these are the distribution.
So who is leading?
APC had 55 seats.
Of 109?
Of 109.
That's more than half.
Yeah.
So they are fine.
So they are fine. They are fine in the Senate.
In the Senate.
And then PDP has 30. These are the distribution. But there are still some.
What did Labour get?
Labour has 7 in the Senate. But then.
That's not bad.
There are still some inconclusive, pending results.
Okay.
That may further either consolidate APC's hold or perhaps.
Or bring them nearer to peril.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when you go to the. Have the House of Rep. This is for the House of Representatives.
Correct.
Equally. So we have 360 seats.
Yeah.
So to control the House of Rep, you need about 180 seats. So APC is short of majority.
They have 159.
159.
20 more they need.
In that chamber. But then they could benefit from either
but somebody has 34 seats. Yeah, that's Labour.
That's Labour.
That's unlikely to go. That's unlikely to go.
PDP has 107.
Okay, but if you do PDP 107 plus Labour's 34, they also don't get 180.
But the fact here is that these two, the candidates here, broke away from PDP.
Single candidates or all of them?
The presidential candidates.
Yeah, the presidential, okay,
So there's more likely that in case of the need to collaborate, perhaps AMPP may prefer to sideline, to align with APC.
But if they align with APC have 20 more to go. 18 is still not enough.
Yeah.
They will need the 4 seats.
So realignment will come.
So APGA will be able to do some good.
But then there are still some pending seats also that could either
33.
Yeah,
that's significant.
That could still
that's significant.
The balance of.
And all of them are competing for these 33. Everyone is in there.
Sure.
Okay. That's significant.
And then,
so it will take us how many weeks to find out? When is the inauguration of the new president?
May 29th.
Okay, we have some time then.
But then the poll will be held on April 15th.
Which poll?
The supplementary.
Oh, the 33 that we are talking about.
So these are the entirety.
April 15th is soon, 2 days from now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then we have 2 inconclusive gubernatorial elections for rerun, which is Adamawa State and Kebbi State.
Okay.
But Adamawa State is very interesting. We'll get to that. And then for the senatorial seats, some senatorial seats have not been decided.
Okay.
We have Kebbi North, Zamfara, Zamfara Central, Sokoto. And then these are the House of Reps.
The 33 that we saw, okay.
And these are the, for the state assemblies. But we could also look at potential stronghold in this,
For the 5 Senate seats.
Yeah,
but the Senate is not complicated because APC have more than half. So we don't need that. Let's understand what you were saying about Adamawa State. What's there?
It was inconclusive. But for the first time in Nigeria history, a female governor could emerge out of the race.
Nigeria has never had a female governor.
They have one, But she was the deputy to Peter Obi when he was a governor in Anambra State.
Okay.
So when he was impeached, she automatically succeeded in Virginia, Ethiopia also.
And she's no longer there?
No, she wasn't elected.
She was not
She's
re-elected.
no longer
okay.
there.
Okay.
But in current Adamawa State, there's a chance of a woman, a female emerging elected.
Well, let's see.
And it's actually also happening in the north.
It's in the north?
Yeah, which is presumed to be very conservative and more
Islamic conservative, yeah. But that's very interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah,
That's her?
Yeah.
Is she called Aisha?
Yeah.
How? I just said the title.
Aisha Dahiru Binani.
Okay.
And then is the incumbent governor from PDP.
Why haven't they done the election yet?
Initially, what do you call
Is Aisha an APC candidate?
She's contesting for APC.
That's interesting.
He was leading, but then I think the polls didn't hold in some portion of the state, so it was declared inconclusive by INEC, so there have to be a rerun.
So there's a rerun going on there.
Yeah, there's a rerun.
At this time when all the elections are over and APC are going to pour their political power there,
Yeah.
I tip the woman to win that one.
And this is, so for the rerun, that is Adamawa State.
It's a Senate seat?
No, for the rerun, the governor election.
Oh, it's a governorship. Okay,
So that's
okay.
the state, Adamawa, in Northeast. That is Atiku's home state.
Oh, and the PDP has it.
The PDP has it.
Well, but with now the power switching to APC in the circumstance,
and
APC have an advantage.
Before the election was declared inconclusive, the sitting governor was leading with almost 31,000 votes or so.
But now they're going to vote again,
Yeah,
given that the presidential election has happened and everyone has seen the results.
Yeah.
APC standing in a very, very strong position. So
in terms
when do you think all of this is going to be over?
I think
It has to be over by 15th April towards.
Sure.
So by the end of April, all this should be done.
all this should be done.
And then inauguration day is 26.
Yeah.
Court case is not going to change anything dramatically.
Well, we wait to see. But in Nigeria, court case has never really appended election results.
But Peter Obi himself has said that he's going to court not to change the results, but to change the rules for the next election, something like that.
But then if you look at the seats here, and then if you look at the map here, you could see that APC control 15 states.
States?
Yeah.
Out of how many?
In terms of the governorship.
How many states do
Out
they have?
of 360.
36 or 360?
36 rather.
36, okay.
Yeah, APC controls 15. PDP,
15 is not up to half of 36.
Yeah, PDP has 8. NNPP has 1. They won Kano State.
That's a good one.
Kwankwaso.
Oh, that's Kwankwaso. Okay.
Yeah. And then out of the 36 states, 8 were not to be contested.
Why?
You know, initially when democracy was restored in 1999, all state elections are general election conduct, but because of court cases, some states...
So 8 are not due?
Yeah, 8 are not due.
They'll be due a year later or something like that. Okay, yeah, we understand that. All right, okay.
But then, interestingly now, what do you call it? What happens in the future is dependent on these two personalities.
Relating to what, the tribal situation?
Yeah, with the rising ethnic tension, from now till the day of handover, Muhammadu Buhari still remains the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and his tasked with ensuring the safety of every Nigerian citizen. His actions and inactions would either deepen the divide or perhaps, bring the country together. And then subsequently, Tinubu's, ascendancy or perhaps his presidency, coming to the seat with a very fractured or divided and polarized country, he has a duty of also ensuring that he builds consensus and able to unite the country. So a lot is now hanging on the shoulder of these two individuals, Muhammadu Buhari and then President-elect Asiwaju Bola Tinubu.
Okay, we'll send you to go and watch the inauguration and then you tell us what happens. That's Ahmad Bello, Alhassan Bello. I've elevated him. I've called him Amadou. That's his godfather. But he's Alhassan Bello.